Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Street Smart Millionaire. We talk to some really successful people about their journey, things they do well, things they're working on, and we try to bring in some balance. So today we have one of my favorite loan reps, Lizy Hoeffer, who's been one of the top female loan reps for the last 5 years. How long have you been in the mortgage business?
23 years.
23 years. Well, you don't look that old. How old were you when you got in the business?
So I started as a receptionist at a mortgage company when I was 19 years old, but I was only the receptionist for 3 months because I started calling their leads.
So you're a receptionist, and then what made you start to call their leads?
Um, well, I worked for a mortgage broker that was kind of like Wolf of Wall Street, where everyone would like do a bunch of drugs and go to the strip clubs and then dial for dollars. And I could hear them not make calls. Like they were mostly just talking to each other and not making calls. And then one day, this guy came up to me with a stack of dead leads and asked me to shred them. And I was like, well, what if I don't shred them and I call these leads for my, like, you don't have to pay me to do it, but if I book an appointment, you'll pay me $50. And at the time, I was kind of desperate for money and I needed to figure out a way to like double or triple my income with the same amount of hours. So I could give them 2 hours for free. And my goal was every night to book two committed appointments. So I would just make as many dials as possible. So
So you started out on sales with almost them going against you, and you saying, "No, I'm going to call these dead leads and try to convert them." So how long were you in the business before you went on the sales side?
well, I ran the call center in college. So basically, that was the start of my call center journey. And then after 3 months of me dialing and booking appointments, they asked me if I could train people to do what I did. And so I hired three other girls from college and I trained them and managed them and ran their call center until I graduated. So, I mean,
You know, I was talking to a client yesterday, and their son just moved to Florida with 15 of his high school friends to learn how to sell door-to-door pest control. That burning desire, you can't beat it, can you?
survival is the most motivating place. Yeah.
I agree. How long were you in a call center?
5 years.
So 5 years you were in a call center, then you went direct realtor after that.
Then no, I LOA'd. So I was somebody's junior loan officer for another like 3 years. And then I processed for another 2 years. And
So you
then
had 10 years before you went on the road. So you were truly an expert of sales, operations, how to close a loan. So you knew everything about the mortgage business before you went on the road.
yeah, and I became a loan officer in 2018 or 2008.
So 2008, you became a loan officer, and it's been about 17 years. And I think your call center skills have developed into marketing skills. When I say you're an excellent marketer, what does that mean?
Well, I'm effective online. So I can get people to come to my classes. I can get them to sign up for my newsletter. I can get them to solicit me for a loan online without having met me.
So you generate a lot of online leads and webinars and trainings. You do a lot of training for realtors. That's kind of your special thing, correct?
Yeah.
And then you have an unusual business. You have a business that I don't love, but I'm part of it. So you have a business where you lead generate, and then you have salespeople that convert the leads, correct?
I have salespeople, yeah, that convert the leads, that follow up and stuff.
Cool. And how many leads do you generate a month?
200 to 300.
So I'm normally looking for a loan rep to generate 60 to 80, and you're generating 200. Tell us some secrets to generating all these leads. My God, that's like 4 times what a normal loan rep generates.
Yeah, but you have to realize that it's like the quality of leads. So I am getting warm handoffs. So these aren't just like cold leads, but the leads themselves are not super high quality because it's again generated online. And so like whenever you generate leads through a warm or not met referral source, the quality of that conversion just goes down a lot. So I'll generate a lot of leads, but the conversion is relatively low because not because we can't get people on the phone, but just because they're about 18 months away from qualifying. Like when people start online, their journey is a lot like more premature than somebody you get handed off by an attorney or a CPA or, somebody who's like from somebody's database that has already purchased a home and qualifying.
Now, you
So
still have some traditional realtor relationships that give you warm leads, correct?
I have a ton of traditional business. Yes. And I have a lot of business that come like, like I would say a YouTube lead is a lot more solid of a referral than a Facebook lead. Like, like you just the same way that a Zillow lead is a lot hotter than an IDX lead, which is like the home search on somebody's website. So the key to generating a lot of leads is really just to focus on the end goal of the person that's receiving your message. So one of the ways in which I'm an effective salesperson and just in general an effective marketer is that I constantly talk about what it looks like to win for the person watching it and how they need my whatever fill in the blank to win. Right. But it's always
So give
about
me an example of that. Give me an example of what a client would look at to win.
okay, so like for example, I'm about to so I always so annually on May 1st or like the first business day in May, I start up my own coaching series. It's called 100 Days of Great Business. Okay, I found out that it's very similar to a different coaching program, so I just changed the name this year to 100 Days to More Deals. Right? And so like I need 100 days to start generating enough prospecting so that I have enough data to change and pivot my prospecting if I need to. It's enough time to build a significant database that you can market to. But 100 days to more closings, right, is the win, right? The person who's watching the videos about this, that's looking at the marketing, wants more closings. And they know that 100 days of prospecting will get them that. They just need the roadmap, which is my program. And so that's what effective marketing looks like. I'm targeting people who want to win in a big way, who need structure, who understand the commitment, and the end result is they're going to be successful.
Do you not agree that there are certain people that will be successful no matter what they do?
Yeah.
And do you not agree that people that want to win, that have a plan, no matter what the plan is, will do better than if they don't have a plan?
Yes, 100%.
Now, you've been my coaching student for how long?
Since 2013.
So probably for 13 years, you've been my student. We always work on your lead generation. We always work on your team. We were talking before the hall how you just hired the best hire you've had in a long time. Tell me about her.
Well, I'm not going to take any credit for being the hirer. I took myself out of the hiring process, which was the pivot
I know
I
my
made.
operations manager does a lot of screening for you and helps you with your hires.
Yeah, so I actually made my executive assistant responsible for screening all the candidates because she knows me the best. And I just trust her gut. Like her gut about people is typically right on. And so she was interviewing people ahead of time, and then Lisa was interviewing them secondly to get their skill.
You don't have the right team, it's really hard to be successful. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's impossible.
So you
Well, it's
have
not
about
impossible. It's very stressful.
7 people on your team, correct?
Yes. I
So you
think I
have
have
seven
nine. So.
people on your team. You have how many are in paper pushing mode?
I have three people in processing, and then I have three people that are LP1s and two in training and one executive assistant.
That help you convert these leads and follow through. Now,
Yes.
I was talking about your conversion is in the 12 or 10 or 12% range. And if you were doing the conversion, what would it be?
Um, I mean, I would be in the 60s. My conversion isn't quite 12%, but yes, I
Well,
hear
you
you.
generate 200 leads and you close 27 deals. So that puts you in the 12 to 14% range, correct?
It does, but you have to account for sales cycles. And so not every single lead will convert immediately. And so but yes, I hear what you're saying.
Here's what I'm telling you. I think that if you put the best person in front of the client, the conversion is between 20 and 40%. When you were doing the direct sales, you were in the 40% conversion range. Teaching people how to convert and doing the conversion is different. As you get
Fair.
further along in your business, like with me, I have more people converting leads than just me. You have more people converting leads. You have an advanced business. So the first 20 closings is about you getting it done. And then when you close 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 loans, it has to be about team converting leads. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
So I think that you're at an advanced level as a businesswoman where you have other people converting your leads. So you have to generate them a lot of opportunities. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And if you were personally developing the referral person's business, you would convert more of the leads because they would refer stronger. So I think that when you do a marketing approach to generating leads, the conversion comes down. Do you agree with that?
I do. I also, though, the part of the problem with the conversion truly is I am training them on how to sell and close. That's part of what my advantage is over other loan officers. But a lot of the real estate agents that I begin to work with are entry level. So, right. So they're taking on real estate, as a new start to a second career. And so you're training entry level agents for a long time before they become solid referral partners or they become solid technicians.
And I think that um, when you're doing a marketing campaign, like I do a lot of marketing campaigns, I get a lot of referrals. I have an event next week, 2 weeks it's sold out. Out of the 140 people, I have about 65 that have moved out. I have about 50 that are referred in by members and coaches, and I have 15 that came in from marketing streams. So of the 140, about 12% is coming in from marketing streams. So marketing is from a small part of someone's business to a big part of someone's business. Do you agree with that? You have to have marketing.
Yes, it's the only way to have sustainability if you want to go on vacation or you have to take an extended period of time off like I did when I was getting a divorce. I was so grateful for all the marketing I had done for a long period of time that kept me front of mind.
Well, I think it's probably the most common conversation that people want to have is how to generate leads without a lot of direct contact with referral partners. So I think marketing is important. I've embraced it in the last 2 or 3 years. I think it's a small part of a business. It's a main part of your business. What are some secrets to doing marketing to get people to respond to your marketing?
So marketing is the same as sales. You have to have something tangible that somebody can walk away and say, that's what you provide. So like, for instance, yours is the greatness tracker. It's the, learning how to do a P&L, but primarily it's teaching the greatness tracker, right? So that's the tangible item. And then you have to be able to quantify that into your end user's life. Like, why does somebody need a greatness tracker to be successful? Right. And how meaningful is this to them and where they're at right now? Like we've seen lots of people who are like, oh, I can't make 65 calls. That's impossible. I don't need that, right? Like that's not your end user. But for the person who's highly ambitious, highly motivated, that's looking for structure and high pressure, that does well under high pressure, a greatness tracker and competition is exactly what it is. And then you have to understand like why now? Like why now is like the urgency. Like why does somebody have to act today with your tools? And how is this going to change their life? And so for a lot of salespeople, especially within the core, right? Like so many of these people have been going at it by themselves. And it is a very stressful business of roller coaster, high and lows, highly emotional people get involved in real estate. And so the why now is pretty simple, right? You're watching people who are equally as talented, equally as smart as you, making seven figures, and you are struggling at your first 250, right? The why now makes all the sense. It's like, why wait? And so when you can have those three components into whatever your sales pitch is, whatever your marketing pitch is, it's a win. Most loan officers, though, can't articulate it. Like, even when we're on our coaching calls, most of them cannot tell you what tangibly they give to their realtors or their clients that would separate them from another loan officer. Most
Let me
people
ask you
think
this.
rates and fees.
Let me ask you this. How much of it is what you say, and how much of it is what you offer, and how much of it is how you say it?
So I think number one, you have to have an impactful message. Like it has to be tangibly a benefit for your end person.
Come with
And then,
me, you'll double your income, you'll save
yes,
money. With you, what's the message? Come with you, you'll close on time and close smooth, right?
with me, no, it's like I will make you your first 100,000 in 5 years or less, right? Like that is what it is. If you buy a property from me, I will teach you the structure to buy the right property. So you're making 100,000 in equity. If you are a real estate agent, I will teach you how to be a six-figure earner in under 2 years. Like that is what you get when you work with me. Now, most loan officers cannot back that up, but I can. Right. I can back that up with my clients. I have enough testimonials. I have a program, a structure, and a
So what
hundred
your
thousand
message
dollars.
is a big part of it.
Yes, you have to have a meaningful message, right? The 100,000 is most people's first money goal. But the thing is, I also have a very assertive style in how I approach speaking to people, right? You do too. It's a coaching style. So when I talk to you, I'm assertive, I'm intense. And because my strength in how I deliver my message is typically stronger than the end person, people tend to believe me, right? They tend to
Well,
go with the stronger person's.
I think that all people are desperate to be led, and leadership has a loud voice to it, and it has a strength. And it's like when people talk to you, it's like, do this, do this, do this. And I think that how you say your message is as important as the message. I think, what are they going to get when they deal with you? I think that how you deliver that message with the confidence, I think those two things make a big difference. Now,
1,000%.
in your career since '08, so it took you how long from to make, how long did it take you to make 300 grand from '08 as a mortgage rep?
I think I was making till 2012.
So it
I was
took you
making
4 years to make 300. And then from the 4 year mark, from 12, when did you make the million the first time?
when I came to cross country. That was the first time I made $1 million. So
So
that
that
was in
was,
2020.
so it took you 6 more years to go from 300 to a million. And then for 6 years, you've been averaging over $1 million in income. You've been a really good saver. You've been a really good investor. What are your thoughts on like investing in the stock market and real estate? What are your differences on opinions on that?
Well, I believe that you have to maximize your primary residence as an asset as part of your overall wealth strategy. For me, it's done really well. I try to move every time I hit the capital gains exemption because it's the only tax-free money that I will get. And so it doesn't matter if it's 2 years, 4 years, 6 years. Once I hit the capital gains exemption, I'm moving. So I'm never attached to real estate. It's just part of my
So
asset
you've moved how
strategy.
many times in the last 10 years?
I mean, so many. Probably 6.
And you've always making money on every house you've made money on, and you try, and whenever you can eliminate the capital gains, you're moving up. Do you buy investment property or only primary properties?
I've been exclusive to primary properties. I'm about to start investing in rental properties for the sake of doing cost segregation so that I can lower my tax liability. And
Okay.
I'm a pretty conservative investor as it stands. My buy box is it has to appreciate and also pay a dividend. So I'm very conservative in the stock approach that I have too. So S&P 500 is a large part of my portfolio, and I really only buy things that are a necessity. So I'm highly vested in energy. I'm highly vested in some technology. I do a lot with like oil, and that for me makes sense because people always need it. But again, like these things have to pay a dividend, they have to appreciate, they have to be long-standing companies that have had a major return for at least 20 years. I am very conservative when it comes to investing, which has probably kept my gains a lot lower than they should have been. But I feel strongly that slow and steady wins the
Well,
race.
I tell you, I'm probably as strong of an investor as I know. I have a giant portfolio. I always get good returns. I buy things that I love. I own Costco. I own Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. I like boring stocks that are really good. I try not to invest more than 5% of my money on aggressive things that I think are like time sensitive or market sensitive. I do own a lot of real estate. I have some commercial real estate. I have residential real estate. I never worry about my tax savings. Why?
I don't know why.
I was taught years ago by a wealthy man that if you want to be wealthy, worry more about the gains than you do about the taxes you pay. Because paying 35% on a dollar, it's still better to have the 65 cents. And I think a lot of people work on tax deductions and just work on earning more money and paying more taxes. I think it's a good thing. How many hours do you work?
I mean, it depends on the season. Right now, I'm probably working 55 to 60.
So you're working a lot of hours and you still have some balance. What does that look like?
Um, I don't know. I don't actually believe in balance. I think everything's a series of give and takes. When I choose, but I prioritize things that are important to me. So, like the kids' activities, I prioritize. Things that I can delegate, I delegate. I do have a lot of help, and I believe, I never used to factor myself into the equation. And so the quality of my life was what somebody feels like when they're exhausted and overworked and overstimulated. So I focus a lot on just how I personally feel, how I'm taking care of myself, what things I need. And then the rest goes into work.
What do you do to like I spend a lot of quiet time. My wife goes to bed at 10 o'clock. I stay up till midnight. I spend those 2 hours smoking, reflecting, talking to my friends. What do you do to recharge?
Well, I have a crazy dog that I have to like walk 10,000 steps for every single day. So walking the dog actually really helps me. And during that time, I listen to things that are inspiring. So sometimes it's church, sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's a podcast. But if I feel like I'm learning something that is interesting to me, that recharges me.
Well, I think that, I spend a lot of time reflecting on what I'm grateful for. I look at the 7 areas of my life and I have a list of 5 things I'm grateful for in all 7 areas. And I think when I review those things and how blessed I am in life and stop thinking how busy I am, it recharges me and wants me to do more and take care of more people and help others. And I look at, God says, love him and love people. And I think that sometimes people are aggravating. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And you got to kind of remind yourself to love them anyway. So when you're dealing with all these leads and all these employees and all these clients, it can be overwhelming. So I think that quiet time is very important in life, whether it's walking the dog or sitting on the patio having a fire or a cigar. I think you got to get a good hour, hour and a half a day of quiet time. That's no phone, no kids, no partners, just some quiet time to relax. You agree with that? So what is your exercise routine like to stay in shape? What do you do there?
So I wake up every morning at 5:30 to 6 and I work out for 30 minutes. And then obviously, I just said I walk the dog a ton. I mean, I'm not
So you
kidding when
work
it's
out
like a
five
minimum
days a week,
10,000
you walk
steps.
the dog 7 days a week, so you're getting lots of activity, which also burns off some of that, like frustrations and things that go on in our lives. You agree?
Yes, and I will say this, because this is something that I never did prior to going to therapy. Whenever I feel like I am feeling short-tempered or short patient with people, I take that as a, hey, there's something that I need in this moment that I'm not addressing. And so I'll just ask myself what I need. And sometimes it's like a quick walk, sometimes it's food, sometimes it's water, sometimes I just need support, but I'll just be like, what is it that I need in this moment so that I can show up differently? But
So I know you believe in like supporting you here and coming here. I know you have me as a business coach. I do some personal counseling with you. You have a professional that you work with, correct? Who else do you use in your life to support you?
um, you know, I mean, I have a lot of friends that I go to for support. Uh, but honestly, I really read the Bible. I mean, I personally find that whenever I'm lacking anything, I can pretty much find it there.
Well,
And
I think that the Bible and God are the ultimate counselors, and I think if more people relied on that for their direction in life, it would be a lot easier. Like I go to church a couple times a month. I read the proverb every day. Today in the proverb, it says, "Those that work their land will have abundant food." How do you translate that proverb into what we do? What is your land in that sense?
I mean, the land are the leads. Like people who work in their business will have fruit. Like I completely agree with that. Yes.
Yes, I think so. Everything is so simple and so easy when you look at that. So, gosh, you're very busy. You're an iconic loan rep. You generate all these leads. You have 3 children. You have a lot going on. Do you get stressed out?
Yeah,
How
I
often?
do. I mean, I think I maintain a pretty low level of anxiety all the time. I do not get worked up the way I used to get worked up in the past. I used to like, I have a very hard time exerting what I need and setting boundaries. So for a long time, I can look like a duck on water, like my feet are paddling like crazy. And then all of a sudden I would erupt and it would typically feel like out of nowhere for the people around me because I can maintain and have a huge bandwidth for dysfunction. Now I just understand that the job is really stressful and that it really isn't about me. It's about what's happening in this moment. And typically everything has a solution. We just have to figure it out. And sometimes that solution is just money, but most of the time things will have a solution. And like separating what my value is from this job has really helped a lot in stress management. Like I used to not, in the moment everything felt so big for me. And And I just really care about doing a good job. Like I really care about not screwing other people up. I really just care in a big way. And so when you feel that way, naturally you're just going to feel stressed. There's a huge amount of responsibility on us at all times, closing on time, somebody's finances, all of your employees' jobs, making money for your family. I mean, it's a lot. So I don't expect that this job will not be stressful. So that is an expectation that I have just let go of. And now I just like in moments where I can feel it building up for me, I'm just like, okay, what is it that I need in this moment? Like, I'm obviously afraid of something. What is that? And then I just kind of walk it back. But it's a mild anxiety all the time.
I think that fear is a very powerful emotion. It can work for us and it can work against us. You agree with that? I think that me
Yeah.
and you are similar in that we want to be valuable. And when things go wrong, we can feel like we're not valuable. And what I have to remind myself is my team or my behavior wasn't valuable. It had nothing to do with me being valuable. But I think that we're all on an evolution of learning, and wisdom takes time and years. And I think you're making a lot of progress. We've been together a long time. Why have you had the same coach for 13 years? Why?
I mean, because you are always growing. Like, I've never met somebody in my life who is so focused on becoming a better version of themselves. And there isn't anything that you don't try to improve on. Like the fact, like recently you said, okay, I'm going to get really good at marketing. I do not doubt that in a year from now, you will be an expert in marketing. And I want a mentor personally that is always wanting to be bigger and bigger and never settles. Like you just never settle in any aspect of your life, family, church, money, like investing, coaching, marketing. I mean, you just always want to get better.
Well, I
I
tell you, I
really,
draw those people. I draw people that are habitually driven and they always want us to go to the next mountain and the next mountain and the next mountain. And I think that that inspire, like coaching people like you inspires me to keep creating a gap between me and you. So as good as you get, I tell myself, I got to have a gap between you to make you keep following me. But I think it's a great journey to be around people that are focused and driven and want to get better and they want to evolve. And I love watching you grow from, I found you to be high drama. Now I find you to be middle drama. And I think that I was high drama. Now I'm middle drama. I don't want to be around people that are no drama. Why?
I don't know. Maybe they're boring. They don't care enough.
They're too boring and they don't have enough highs and lows in life. So I think that watching you grow over the last, gosh, I've probably watched you for 15 years. Just it's amazing where you are and where you've come from and where you're going. And I think that we are both people that are committed to growth and committed to getting better. And I think at the end of the day, all people matter. And I think if you remember that as we go through our busy lives and don't get so aggravated by the little things that go wrong, I think it's a great fun ride. You agree?
I do.
I
Yeah.
love doing it with you, and I'm super proud of you. And y'all need to follow Lizy. She's a great marketer. She will help you with everything you're working on. She's always inspiring. And listen, find the right coach for you that fits what you're looking for. And if I'm the right coach for you, hire me. If somebody is the right coach for you, go hire them. Thank you, Lizy. Thank you, everybody. Go get wealthy and get balanced. Street Smart Millionaire over and out. See you later.